Buongiorno. It is a rainy day here in Seattle, and I'm doing a little house cleaning and cleaning out some of my shoes out of my closet. As you probably know, if you read my blog, you might have seen that I have been focusing a lot on shoes lately, mostly because it's the question people get from me the most: what kind of travel shoes should they buy to take with them to Europe? And I have a lot of experience with that. I really like shoes, but more than anything, I like comfortable feet, and I learned really early on as a tour guide that the more comfortable my feet were, the happier I was as a traveler. So I've tried all kinds of different things, and I probably have gone through 50 pairs of shoes in my life as a tour guide. So today I wanted to show you sort of the winners, the losers, and the ones that are still going strong so you can make some good decisions. A lot of these are on my website. Some of them are recommendations from last year. And if you want to see what I'm recommending for this year, you can take a look at adventureswithsarah.net, and you'll see that I have several articles right now about that. So let's have a look at what I've got going on with shoes right now. So here's my array of shoes, and these are mostly quite used shoes that have gone through quite a number of miles throughout Europe. I spend my time mostly in Italy, but all over Europe, and I try to find shoes that sort of mix style and comfort. And so there's certain brands that I go to first. So this is a pair that I had a couple of years ago. I took these with me on a trip to Sicily and to Italy, and I thought they were the perfect shoe. Aren't they so cute with the little silver leather flowers? And they're Born, which is a great company. They're Ballerina flats, and they're really heavy for Ballerina flat because they have a nice rubbery sole. And I was looking for that because that's the big problem with a lot of the Ballerina flats, is they're kind of slippery. So I love these because they had a lot of support, and they also had the nice rubber sole. They even have an arch support on the inside. And here's a nice clue when you go to buy shoes, if you want to know if something's good quality or not. The insole, if the insole has leather in it, that's good, because leather insoles tend not to get quite so stinky. And looking for that perforation is nice because it means that that's going to breathe. If you kind of push on it, you can feel air coming and going. So these are a really nicely made pair of shoes. And I thought they would just be the best travel shoe ever. They kind of pack flat, even if they're heavy. I would say these are probably around 7 or 8 ounces, probably close to 8. The problem is that they have a really tight lip around them here. And what I found is as I wore them, they rubbed right here. And it rubbed big holes in my feet that became pretty bloody pretty fast. So no matter how pretty a shoe is, if it makes your feet bleed, bleeding is not very attractive. So unfortunately, these are kind of put into the back of my closet, and I only wear them on special occasions. But this is something really important to look at when you're choosing a shoe for Europe. Where does it rub? Because I tried these on before I left, and I kind of felt that they were rubbing there, but I didn't think it was going to become a problem. But it really, really did. So something to consider. I probably should have worn these around the lake nearby my house and walked for about 3 miles before deciding. So these are a fail. They're beautiful, and I keep them because they're pretty, but they're a fail. These are Joseph Seibel shoes. I got these on sale really cheap, which was nice because Joseph Seibel is normally extremely expensive. They're very well known, Joseph Seibel, for having great insoles. These ones have a removable insole. I think this insole is actually pretty junky, frankly, but you can remove them and put your own orthotics in. I love that the insole footbed is leather because that keeps them from being stinky, which is always a concern. They're okay. They're pretty anonymous. I liked it because they were anonymous and they could last a long time. But you know what? I almost never wear these. I bought these in a 43, which is allegedly a size 12, which is what I wear. And 43, as it turns out, is not really a size 12. So remember when you get European sizing that it doesn't necessarily correspond to what you would have in the United States. So they're just a little on the tight side. They're fine without socks, but I don't really want to wear them without socks. So that's kind of a shoe fail on my own fault for having ordered these, and I ordered them from a place you couldn't really return them to. I still have them and I'll wear them occasionally, but they're not a workhorse, unfortunately. But Joseph Seibel is considered to be one of the best brands. I have to tell you though, at about $200, which is what the list price was on these, I don't see what the big deal is. I honestly think there are less expensive shoes out there. They're super well made, and had I loved them, they might have been worth it because they last a long time. But they just weren't something I loved, and I think that's the most important part. This is another pair that I'm recommending this year on my website, and I know they may not be your kind of thing. I think they're kind of fun and funky. They do make you look a little bit like you've got hobbit feet because they've got this big toe box here, but this is fabulous if you've got wide feet, and I do have wide feet, and this is always what I'm fighting against, is this piece right here. If it's not wide enough, it just isn't going to work very well. These are called Earth Solar shoes. They're kind of beat up now, but they're very cute. They're like a little ballet flat. But what's really intriguing about these, if you look on the inside, they have a nice perforated footbed that's leather, so it's really nice and airy and keeps your feet cool. But the weird part is, if you can kind of see here, look how thin this is at the heel, and look how fat it is up here towards the pad of your foot, the ball of your foot. So that means the ball of your foot is sitting higher than your heel, which sounds really strange and it looks a little weird, but when you're actually walking the street in them, it's really nice because that means that your heels are lower, which is how you would naturally stand if you were standing, you know, on a beach or something like that, on something soft. Your heels are typically going to be sinking in. So it's supposed to be very good for your posture. So these have been around since the 1970s. They're called Earth, and this version is called Solar, and they come in a lot of different varieties these days. When I bought these are a couple years old. You can see the brand right there. When I bought them, they only made this kind of shoe, but now they have a whole bunch of other brands, Earthies and so on. But this original model is called the Earth by Kelso, I think it is, the person who designed them. So they obviously last. These probably went on tour with me for a couple of years. They probably just need to be washed up and they could keep trucking along. And these come in at about $100 to $150. So worthwhile because they seem to hold out. Here's a pair of shoes I've never worn. I ordered these also from one of these kind of warehousers. I think it was CR Trading Post, a place you can't easily return them to. I thought they'd be perfect. Look at that, black strappy sandals in my size, in a 12, wide enough, and they're by Walking Cradles, which has a really good reputation. I bought them, they fit me perfectly, but I will never take them with me, and I'll tell you why. They're really stiff and they're very slippery on the bottom. They do have rubber, but look how there's no tread there at all. It's pretty much completely flat like that. And that's something to really consider when you buy shoes, is you want something with at least a little bit of grip. It doesn't have to have much. It's also just very clacky. When I walk around, this heel is really plasticky, and so it goes clack, clack, clack along when I walk, and I just really don't like that. So I've never taken them, which is too bad. They seem perfect, but even ones that seem perfect in the advertisement on the website that fit you well, that you walk around the house and they seem great, I don't know. It was one of those things that just nagged me. I could not pack them, and I was glad I didn't because I don't think they would have worked. So now we're moving on up to ones that did work. These are classics. These are Dansko's. Dansko makes fabulous shoes. They are really, really well made. And this is kind of a secret thing. All tour guide women probably own a pair of Dansko's. They're cute, they're orthopedic, and they are considered to be some of the best shoes out there for your feet. I only wore Dansko's when I started working as a tour guide because I was on my feet so much, and they were a lifesaver to me. At the time when I started 17 years ago, there were not so many choices in comfort shoe brands that actually looked cute, and Dansko was really about my only choice. So I love these. I wore them. The model that was most popular back then was one called Lolita, which I liked because it had more straps than this, and I always like lots of straps because that's the first fail on any shoe, is a strap like right here. Once one strap comes off, then you're sunk. So if you have multiple straps and one fails, you're okay. This particular one I haven't worn very much, and the reason for it is they changed the footbed to this sort of plush footbed. You can kind of see it's sort of like a velour or something that's squishy, and it makes your feet smell terrible. It's just so stinky. They also changed their sizing. Their European sizing in the past, the 43, was very much a 12, and now this is a 43, and my toes barely fit off of the, I mean, they really are kind of just off the edge of this shoe. So Dansko, don't be deceived by their sizing. Always order a size up. I think you'll be happy you did because their shoes run small. And if you wear a 12 like me, sorry, you're out of luck. Or you can send me an email and I'll mail you these shoes because they don't work for me. And then this is last year's classic shoe. These are by Monroe, American. And I see these in Nordstrom Rack all the time, this brand. I've never been impressed with them because they just sort of seem pretty bland. I was at the Rack one day though, and I saw this pair of sandals, which I thought was reasonably cute, for $15. They were originally something like $200, something silly like that. And I thought, well, $15, they're black sandals. They fit me, okay, I'll buy them. And they've turned out to be one of my favorite purchases. As you can kind of see, they have a nice rubber sole that's got enough traction and tread that keeps them on my feet and keeps me from slipping. They have this cork footbed that I really like. This is a real standard feature on any Birkenstock, that cork footbed. And what I like about shoes with that is that after you wear them for a while, you can tell my feet have just worn into them. So when I get into the shoe, it actually has molded to my feet. I know it kind of looks gross, I guess. Molded a little bit too much, but you can kind of see on the edge there how it's really molded to my feet. These have taken an awful lot of hardship over the past year. This is 1 year's worth of wear. The problem with these ones, I love them and I would keep wearing them this year, but I can't because I work in places where it's hot and these straps have gotten really stretched out of shape and there aren't enough straps on them to sustain more walking. If I had multiple straps here and some of them had gotten stretched out, that would be fine. I could readjust it. But these straps are just simply too stretched out. And the failure point for any sandal, above all, besides straps, it's the stretching out of this joint right here. Once these straps stretch out, they wobble back and forth when you walk and they don't stay stably upon your ankle. And I have 3 or 4 pairs, my favorite ones last year, which were Earth Orchid shoes. I loved them so much. I can't wear those either anymore. And it's because of a failure right here. This strap just stretches out, and once it's too long, it doesn't hug your foot anymore. So that's another thing about fit when you go to look at a sandal. Take a look at how this feels, because once that stretches, you lose your stability on the sandal. So when you go to buy a new pair, make sure that that fits really snugly, or look for sandals that have multiple straps, kind of like this has a couple of different points where the strap is attaching to the shoe, and then if one stretches out, the other won't. That stability is really important. Otherwise, the shoe does this on your foot. It just kind of waggles along behind you. So these are going to be archived, but they were a great pair of shoes. And Monroe American is especially fantastic because they have huge wide ranges of sizes. These are a 12 wide. You can get them, I think, up to 14 or 16, and they come in narrow and wide sizes. So this is one of the best brands in terms of availability of sizes for stylish shoes that are not just tennis shoes. All right, now here's one that you're not going to probably appreciate. This is a pair of boots, just leather boots that I got at Nordstrom. There's nothing special about them. I don't even know what brand they are. But the reason I wanted to point them out to you is that these are my favorite travel shoes for off-season. I love these so much, and I think I'm going to have to give up on them because they're starting to wear at the back here. But what I love about these for off-season travel is that they're a very thin leather. They were very inexpensive, and because of that, they make up for the thin leather by lining them. And they have kind of a little bit of a cushy lining in there. So they're tall. They go all the way up to my knees, and I adore these for the wintertime because it's like having an extra pair of leggings on underneath. They keep your legs so cozy. This with a down jacket is just about the best thing to wear in off-season travel because it keeps your legs so warm. So I really recommend thinking about boots like this. I know it sounds crazy based on my packing requirements of lightweight shoes, but think about this. If you are packing them, I just roll them up like this. I take both of the boots together, roll, 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 and then they're really not a whole heck of a lot bigger than a tennis shoe once you roll them all up. Like I said, I don't remember the name of these. You'd have to find your own pair, but I would recommend finding one that's inexpensive, that has thin leather, that's kind of lightweight, that you can kind of do that too. It has a pretty thin sole, which is a downside, but these have hiked all over the place. I have been everywhere in these. I was in Turkey with these. I was in all over Sicily hiking, so that is a great shoe to consider for off-season travel. All right, now we're getting into my classic picks. Now this is a shoe, I am sorry to, well, actually let's do this one first. I always suggest that you bring a pair of flip-flops. Flip-flops are fantastic because they are super lightweight and you can just wear them to the beach. I swim in these. I'll just put them on my feet. And if you go to Italy, you'll notice that the beaches there are not made of sand. They're made of gravel. So this gets me from my beach towel down into the water and I can swim around with them. These are called Tiva Mush Mandolin Wedges, and you can find these on my blog. So what I love about these for women is they're a wedge. I don't need height. I'm 6'2". I'm perfectly tall. But what's very cool about these is that when I wear a wedge like this, it makes my legs look a little nicer because, you know, a little bit of a heel makes your legs look a little more curvy, but also they can pass as a slightly more dressy shoe. If these were flat, they certainly wouldn't be able to get away with going out to dinner. But these, I can wear these in Florence with a dress and they actually look fairly nice. I don't like any of the really fancy Tiva strap designs that have lots of colors and are very loud. So just a simple pattern like this, so they don't really call attention to themselves. I have to tell you, I adore these. I wear them all the time. I especially wear them after I've had a few days of big walking days, and my regular shoes, like my tennis shoes, they just make my feet hurt to look at. So it's nice to have an extra pair. They weigh virtually nothing. These come in at about 3 ounces, the lightest thing you can possibly get. And again, multiple strap options here. So in case one snaps or you have trouble, you can just kind of fix it with some super glue or duct tape, and the other ones will hold the shoe together. So I love these shoes, Tiva Mandolin Mush Wedges. They make something similar in a flat flip-flop if you want flat, and they do make them also in men's, and I highly recommend these for men and women. Of course, no wedges for men, sorry about that, but great shoe, and that always goes with me in the season. This is a shoe that's no longer available directly from Skechers, but you can get it on Amazon. This is called Skechers Yes Please. I love these shoes. They are so fun, and look at that tread. I have hiked in these, no joke. I went hiking up to the top of a mountain in Sicily and Erice, all over these ruins, and these were far better than any other shoe that I had, much better than my walking shoes. They're made of elastic bands, so they kind of mold to your feet. The problem with Skechers is these only go up to 11s, and so I'd gotten 11, and because they're all stretchy, you can kind of see by the front there, my feet have just sort of, stretched the shoe out until they fit. And they're wonderful. They're super lightweight. They're adorable on. I can wear them with dresses, and they look really nice. So this is something that's getting to be hard to find. So if you want to get a pair of these, jump online to Amazon and see if you can still score a pair. The newer models I don't care for as much because they don't have this mesh, this kind of elastic band thing going on. So it makes they're stiffer, so they're harder to stretch out, and I just can't fit into them. People love Skechers. They love them because of this foam. Look at that. Oof. It's like walking on marshmallows. It literally is walking on marshmallows, actually. So they're very, very comfortable. The only problem with Skechers, I think, personally, is that they're not supportive. So if you have fallen arches or you have other foot problems where you need a really stiff sole or orthopedic inserts, you could do that here. The insert does come out, but that sort of defeats the purpose because these are meant to be super lightweight. These and these are about the same weight. So that's how wonderfully light these are. And you know how I love lightweight things. And they smash down. I always like the smash down factor in shoes. If you can smash them and pack them really tight and then take them out and wear them and they're just fine, that's a great shoe in my opinion. So Skechers, yes please, that's a real classic. In black, I've worn them for miles and miles, and they're still going strong. Here is another model, and this actually is probably going to be my sandal for this season. I'm going to buy these in the real version. This is a knockoff I bought in Thailand, but it's called Mayori from Birkenstock. This is a wonderful shoe. I paid $6 for these at a Thailand street market, and they're totally fake. Look how fake those are. However, the real one is identical, except for that it has leather rather than this fraudulent leather here. And they're just so wonderful. You put them on your feet and they really just kind of mold to your feet. And this style is pretty cute. I don't like the Birkenstock ones with the big buckles across like here and here because it just reminds me too much of my childhood and crunchy granola kind of hippie shoes. These are nice and sleek looking, and you know what? Everybody in Italy, men and women, are wearing this shoe. You'll see this one, and you'll see the one that's like a thong that has the kind of big bar that comes down here. I didn't choose that one because I don't like having a big bar between my toes. I like this little slip of strap of leather that feels okay between my toes, and they're just really, it's like a cradle for your feet, honestly. Wonderful, and they mold to your feet because they have that cork footbed. I'm sure this is like fake cork or something, but they really mold and they just feel nice. When I was in Thailand, I wore these everywhere and just loved them. So I highly recommend these, but not the fake version, the real version. They're just lovely. Moving on, these are my big winners. These are the winners. These 3 shoes are pairs of shoes that I have bought and will continue to buy over and over again. This particular one is from Dex Flex, which is a brand that you can find at Payless Shoe Source. I'm on my 3rd pair of these. These are blue. I've had a flesh colored one and I've had black, and I've loved them so much that I literally wore them to death. The last one, the beige pair, was killed when I walked through Istanbul and I stepped on nails and it just shredded the side of the shoe. But what I love about these, they are ballet slippers, but they're flexible. Look how nice and flexible they are. Very soft, you can roll them up. They weigh virtually nothing. But the benefit of these ones over any other model that I've seen is that they have a memory foam insole. It's not super nice. This is not leather. This is like a plasticky vinyl sort of thing, but they do have a little bit of breathing with the poked holes there, and they have a little bit of foam, so there's some padding. And on the underside, they've got enough of a rubbery sole that it grips to some extent. They're just wonderful. And this is, I would say, very similar in theory to these ones for me, because I bring these as an alternate for when my other shoes, I just can't wear them anymore because my feet are tired. So typically I'll bring the flip-flops, these ones here, during the summertime, and then in the fall or in the late spring I'll bring these as my third pair, as my alternate. And they look great with everything. They're super cute, they get dressed up, and they're cheap. These are about $25. You can find them on sale sometimes. I put one of my readers put a coupon code on my Facebook page, so have a look there if you want to buy a pair of these. I think they were on sale for around $19 with a coupon code. I love them. I think they're great, and I will continue to buy them. The blue ones, I've never owned blue shoes before, and I thought they were not me, but they go actually with just about everything. So that is a wonderful choice, and I will continue to suggest them and to wear them. And then my two favorite pairs, Toms. Now let me tell you, Toms are something that I debate with myself all the time about, because my first pair of Toms that I got for travel, I love them. They were made of lace. They were very, very breathable and very pretty, but have a look at this underside. It's totally slick. And I slipped down a flight of stairs in Rome, landed on my butt in front of San Clemente Church with a big hematoma on my leg. So I hesitate to suggest these, because if you have any problems with slipping or balance, this is not a good idea for you. What you can do, these are just new out of the box. I just bought a new pair. You can get those pads, the rubber pads that you can kind of put on here to give you a little bit of extra grip if you want. What's wonderful about Toms is they weigh nothing. This is the lightest pair of shoes in the lineup because they're basically made of paper and tape, I think. They're made of something so lightweight. But this is the pair I will buy over and over again. I don't like the canvas ones. These are my winter or early season slip-on shoes that I want to take. If it's early spring, I'm going to leave in about a week, and it's March, so I'm leaving in March. These are going to be my main shoes for a lot of the trip, because look at that wonderful lining on the inside. It's got a sort of fake fleece lining that's really cozy. It's made of wool, so the shoes, they just feel like wonderful slippers. They are a nice looking street shoe, and on the inside they have a genuine leather sole that actually has, if you can kind of see it, I'm going to push. It's got some really nice give. It kind of feels like squeezing somebody's earlobe. That's sort of the consistency of it. So it's got a really nice feel. That versus these ones here, which are just sort of cheap, you know, foam, which is squish, squish. These are, they kind of push back at you. So it's a really sturdy insole. That's where Toms really shine, with a little bit of arch support here. And that arch support doesn't look like much, but it really is. It really makes a difference. And it's got the perforations and a leather footbed that keeps them from getting stinky. I literally wore these to death. I wore these until they fell off of my feet. I had them for maybe 2 years. Here in Seattle, I wear them constantly in the wintertime. I wear them without socks, and I love them. It's today cold and rainy outside, and I'm wearing them all around. They come out of the box fitting me perfectly. These are a 12, and they are just perfect. They're not even a 12 wide, it's a 12 women's, and they are nice and wide in the toe box, but they surprisingly just don't make my feet look wide. And here's a demonstration. There's my foot, and my giant feet do not look giant in these. They just look perfect, and they look cute with jeans, they look cute with skirts. You can wear them with just about anything. So I highly recommend getting these, the black wool Toms with the shearling lining, if you are going on a winter trip. They're a super lightweight alternate pair of shoes. All right, our final shoe is the Victor, the one that never dies. This is the one that was my top recommendation in 2016. And for 2017, I didn't actually have it on my list because I haven't decided what my shoe of the year is, but I very well may just buy another pair of these. These are called Asics Metrolite. You can see right here. They come in a variety of colors, but I, being a former architect, like every color as long as it's black. That's my preference. What I wanted to show you about these shoes is that they have an okay tread on the bottom. These are super dead. This is 2 years worth of tour guide walking as a main pair of shoes. And let me tell you, that is incredible that after 2 years, they actually look okay. If I toss these in the washing machine, they probably last a little bit longer, and I'm considering just taking them with me on my trip in March to do guidebook updates for Rick Steves. I think I may do that because they still work once you wash them. They only have one spot of wear that's kind of concerning, and that's just on the sides. They're kind of getting worn here and here from just kind of normal rubbing during wear and tear. This is a mesh. It's not leather. If you look kind of close, it's a fabric mesh. And the other thing that's really strange about these shoes is they don't have a tongue. So if you look here, the tongue is just part of the shoe. And you know what? I don't really get now why we have tongues in shoes. Now that I've had a shoe like this, it doesn't make any sense because you don't need a tongue in a shoe. It just slips right on. It's all one piece. But I recommend these over any of those kind of Skechers or any of the other kind of athletic shoes that don't have laces, the ones that are just a full slip-on. Not for aesthetic value, but because over years, all of this mesh is going to stretch out, okay? And so as this is stretching out and molding to your foot and becoming more and more comfortable, you want to kind of clamp it down occasionally. So having laces on them, even if they're kind of fake laces, they're not regular laces that are lacing up a shoe. This is all one piece. The reason that they're important to have is that you can fit the shoe to you as the shoe stretches out over time. So I highly recommend not buying shoes that come without laces. If you have a model that comes with laces, be sure to buy them. These are super light. They come in at about 5 ounces as they come out of the package. Mine are slightly heavier because on the inside I have removed the insole that came with them, which I didn't feel was supportive enough. And I put these in. These are Dr. Scholl's insoles. They're gel insoles. I think I bought them at Target. They're similar to Super Feet, which are the ones I recommend on my blog because Super Feet are actually a little bit more durable, but these are just fine. They have a nice kind of cushy heel and foot pad, but for me, I love this. I love the arch support. So I have a nice orthotic that goes inside there and turns these super light shoes into a shoe that actually is pretty comfortable and can keep on going. I would bet you I've walked 300 or 400 miles in these shoes. I'm not kidding about that. They've gone to Thailand, they've gone to Turkey, they've gone all over Europe. They're just fantastic shoes that keep on ticking. And if you don't believe me, here they are ticking along on my other foot. They can look cute with jeans. You can wear them with shorts if you just have little low socks. I'll wear the little low socks that kind of come up here. They just kind of keep going on and on. I can unlace them and put on thick wool socks underneath them. So this is by far the most versatile shoe, the Asics Metrolite. And again, you can find information about that on my website. So there you have it. That's my shoe collection. Well, that's not my whole shoe collection. In fact, I have a lot more shoes than that. I kind of like buying shoes. So it's been a lot of fun researching shoes for my blog, and I hope that the advice that I've given you is really helpful on there. If you have questions, feel free to email me. I can suggest some shoes. I have a spreadsheet that I have been working on for all of the best shoes of this year, and that's going to appear on my website at the end of the week this Friday. And you can have a look at my spreadsheet that compares cost, it compares the ratings, and it compares weight and all of these different factors, and also gives you a range of sizes available. And that'll be a spreadsheet that includes both men and women's shoes. So there's my collection, my shoe graveyard. And I hope you get a chance to clean out your shoe graveyard and really think critically when you clean out your shoe graveyard about which shoes you loved and what qualities you like the best about them. And that'll help guide your decision about new shoes for travel in the future. Thanks for watching.